Lights on, game time, let's break it all down. From the spreads to the lines, who's up, who's down. We're crunching the numbers, calling the plays, talking all sports in a big time way.
Welcome back to Spreadsheets Sports.
Yeah.
It is the 17th, and we have 4 NFL games this weekend in the first round of the playoffs. Wild card weekend was last weekend, and it was definitely filled with entertainment. And man, I did good on some tickets. I did horrible on others, and I had one that was amazing. And thank God for the round robins. And mixing the round robins with college basketball, NBA has been sucking, but pushing through it. But college basketball is my bread and butter right now. And mixing that with NFL as it kind of fades away. So it is what it is. Here we are. And you are in the right place at Spreadsheets Sports. So thank you guys for stopping in today. It's going to be a quick show because I'm just going to go over the 2 games for today. And then I'm also going to do another video for the 2 games on Sunday. I am going to also talk about the slate for all 4 games and give you my idea of all 4 projections for a money line perspective. Obviously, we're going to dissect those 2 games today, and we're going to look at them under the microscope and really pull them apart and see what the matchup really looks like. But I also wanted to take some time to get into the kicking opportunities as well, because that was what really saved me last week was kicking points, team points, and a couple mediocre player props. And I'm sticking with that formula for the day and for tomorrow. Okay. I'm not going to be making a wish list of things I want to see in the game. I'm just betting on things that are the most highly probable and the most common sense that's going to happen. I want something as close as, did the players tie their shoes up today? I'm not going for the whole Puka Nacua got 150 yards receiving and 3 touchdowns. I'm not doing nothing like that. I'm keeping this so basic and copacetic at a good price. That's it. So if you stopped in the Spreadsheet Sports today, you are in the right place. We deal with the data, and we deal with only the data, no soap opera narratives or anything of that nature. I will sometimes have to pull myself and reel myself back in from the conspiracy side of sports betting and walk away from that and stick back to the data. A lot of people are so caught up in the, it's rigged and they're cheating and it's a script and the blah, 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 blah. I don't care. Get in the lab, look at the numbers, do your work. The more prepared you are, the luckier you will be. So here we go. We're going to dive into these 2 games. Thank you guys for coming to Spreadsheet Sports. If you're new to the channel, I hope you enjoy the experience. For those that are returning, thank you for the support. Thank you for the likes, shares, and the subscriptions, the views, all of the above. You're the reason that the channel is growing. But let's dive in. Let's see what we got. And let's get paid. All right. Starting out with the Bills and the Broncos. Oh, boy. These games this weekend are so treacherous. So treacherous. At least they are to me. And the reason I'm saying that is because it's just really riddled with a lot of nuance. And I'm just like, when I look at some of the games, it's like, well, what can happen on top of what's going to happen? And as prepared as you think you are, you're not. I'll just put it to you that way. This is going to be interesting. All right. So, dealing with the Bills and the Broncos, what we do know is that we're dealing with a number 5 team and a number 6 team. Bills being number 5, Broncos being number 6. And as always, guys, if you're new to the show, I don't care about you taking screenshots. Take the screenshot if you don't want to hear me run my mouth, and then you can fast forward to the next game and take another screenshot, and in that way you can get what you need. This show is like the ideal show for a starting point for your own research. I'm not telling you that what I'm saying is I'm the oracle. I'm not the oracle. I'm not telling you the prophecy. I do sometimes transcend into the universe and take a trip on the universe just to see what's out there and see if I can like time travel into another dimension and see what the future may look like. I do that quite often, and I do get my version of what I think is going to happen, and I try to get multiple versions as alternate realities. And then I try to use that to quantify the data that I'm looking at to get the results that I get. But looking at this game, we got Josh Allen, superhero, putting on his Superman cape. Bo Nix, solid performance. Production is really, really good. They do well at home. They win 89% of their games at home versus a Bills team that's winning 63% of their games on the road. Red zone defense for the Broncos is actually much better than the Bills. The Bills are coming into this with a number 12 defense that in regards to yards allowed versus a number 1 defense in regards to yards allowed. I'm not going to say that the Denver Broncos overall are a number 1 defense, but I'll put them in the top 3 or 4 because you still got to, even though the Browns didn't make it here, the Browns had a great defense. Seattle has a great defense. Chargers had a good defense. Chiefs were ass on offense, but they had a good defense. Like you can go down the list and name some really good defenses in the NFL. That's why I don't really want to say the Broncos are a number 1 defense. People want to say that because they're in the playoffs right now, but I can't say number 1. But in regards to data, ranking data, they're number 1 in regards to yards allowed. And they have a pretty good red zone defense. They only allow 43% of attempts on the end zone to happen. Versus the Bills are going to let you score. They're going to let you score 54% of the times that you're going to try in the red zone. The Bills are going to let you do it. The Bills run a nickel and a 3 high quarter, and they run in the 4-3 on the line. Up against a Bo Nix being very, very developed very well. Sean Payton has done a really good job with this guy. I think Bo Nix is going to be able to find a way through that nickel. Like you're going to leave him too much cushion underneath, and even if you go to a 3 high quarter, he can pull that apart. And if you go to man, then he can eat you alive because he knows his playbook and he can check down and he can lead his receivers for passes and he can get the ball to him on assignment football. So Bo is that whole package. And even if you try to pin him in, which is not going to be the case with the Buffalo Bills, the Bills only do pass rush 6.5 times a game on the average. So that's really more like 6 to 8 or like 5 to 8 times out of a game they blitz. That's not enough. When they do blitz, they put their hands on their quarterback 32% of the time, which is a decent sack ratio, but they just don't have the volume. Maybe we see more from the Bills in regards to blitzing because it's Bo Nix and because it's the playoffs, but I'm not sure. But even with that being said, the Broncos win the battle of the offensive line. They have a number 9 offensive line versus a number 29 defensive line from the Bills. So Bo Nix should be well protected. The run should be able to get up and get some legs underneath it. And if he has a run attack, he can do very well in regards to his ability to do production because he's protected. He can pull you apart. On the flip side, the Bills are up against a spy and a quarter defense and a 3-4. So they're ready for second level attacks with their four linebackers, right? Versus just having things all up front. Crazy thing is, even with a 3-4, they blitz much more than the Bills do. The Broncos are going to send the blitz almost 11 to 13 times in this game, and they put their hands on the quarterback even more than the Bills. But they're up against Josh Allen. He's in a scenario where his offensive line loses. Even though they are number 3 offensive line, they're not going to lose the whole game, but they're going to lose this battle. Okay? Josh Allen is going to get disrupted, but that's not necessarily a bad thing because Josh Allen does very well whenever he's under pressure that way. In some ways. In other ways, Josh Allen, if you pressure him enough and if your team can get a lead, like I think the Broncos can, when that happens, Josh Allen throws interceptions. Anytime that he feels like psychologically he's behind or he physically or literally is behind in points, he goes and he starts forcing it. And when he starts forcing it, that's your chance to get an interception. And the Broncos could do a pick six that changes the entire dynamic of the game. If they're already up and they get a pick six, then it's going to pressure Josh Allen even more. He might throw another interception. If the Broncos are behind and they get an interception and get back in the game, then I think it keeps Josh Allen focused but not frantic. So that's what we're looking at. I mean, coaching staff to coaching staff, the Bills have a better coaching staff when you think about tenure, the ranking of their staff. But on the other side of it, in regards to rings and tenure, the Broncos win that battle. So that's what we're walking into in regards to the matchup. Now, things I see in this game, I see field goals. Weather is fine. That's not an issue. It's an afternoon game. It's not like tomorrow. Tomorrow, both games are possibly going to have snow. But today, no rain. Wind is going to be a slight factor. It's about a 10.3 mile per hour northwest wind in the stadium. So that might make a challenge for some field goals. But I like the Broncos to take points when they get down into the red zone and not be prideful and try to go for it on fourth down. With that being said, that's our first player prop that I really like. I like the kicker for, and I'll get into this when I break down the kicking, all of the kicking props. But I'm just going to say right now, I like field goals for the Broncos. Player props I like for production on both teams are this way. Evan Ingram as the tight end for Bo Nix up against the Bills that possibly may defensively rush a little bit more. I like him to dump off to Evan Ingram. I like him to hit Cortland Sutton after he's developed the run to keep them on their toes, right? I like Troy Franklin to also be underneath and get some play on that as well, right? Those are the main weapons that I like for him, okay? RJ Harvey is going to be somewhere in this mix. So is Jaleel McConklin, though. So he has a nice balanced offense to go and try to get some production against the Bills. On the other side of that, Khalil Shakir, a lot of people don't like his production. Dalton Kincaid, I prefer over Knox. Josh Allen rushing today. I didn't mention Bo Nix on rushing because I don't really know if he's going to rush or I think he rushes if he has to, which it doesn't scream out to me take rushing yards for Bo Nix. He might show out today, but I still like Josh Allen for rushing yards today. The line is 39 though. I will take 30, not 39. I will take him over 30, and I'm going to be sweating a little bit at over 30, but I like 30 better than 39. And I'll pay the juice on the 30 because I'm going to add on field goal bet to this. And I probably will also take Evan Ingram for 25 receiving yards today. Yeah, I like that. I really like Cook also on rushing plus receiving, not rushing. It says 0 here because the books haven't released any bet for James Cook for this particular prop yet. It's coming though. It's just what I'm seeing for this game. Points. The data has projected 19 to 23. That's reasonable. I would take just because and the thing is this is a pick me game. Like there is no underdog and favorite. Like it's at -102 if you pick the Bills for money line, or -114 for the Broncos, which means that you're not getting favorable pricing if you go on points. But I'll take the Bills for over 19. I'll take the Bills for over 19 and a half, right at 20. Field goal for the Broncos. I think the Bills are going to be selfish and not kick any field goals when they get in the red zone, and that may ultimately be why they end up possibly losing this game. I'm going with the Broncos for the money line. I'm going with the Broncos for the money line. And if I had to do that, I told you I'm being conservative on my picks, so I won't have that money line on my ticket, but I'm willing to say that's where I'm leaning to go towards that. I may end up after a couple of drinks here, um, end up putting the Broncos money line on that same ticket with those props. But I'm going to put those props in separate, and then I may duplicate the ticket and then add on the Broncos, and go out with a bang. But that's where I'm at with this game. Um, Man, go Broncos. Going to be an amazing game to watch, but I'm excited to see it. 49ers and the Seahawks game is also going to be very electric. I like this game in regards to like production. Um, I gotta be honest. The Seahawks have like teeter-tottered their way through this season under the radar, being respectfully productive. Like their production is something that you could not really look away from. I noted that they had a cue beside Sam Darnold in regards to being questionable for the day, and immediately the books went crazy yesterday because he was questionable. But after more research, he's going to play. He's going to play. Sam Darnold's going to be playing, and he's going to be playing very, very, very well. Um, let's start at the top, guys. Weather. Not an issue. 3-mile-an-hour wind. Field goals are going to be easy for those that end up taking those field goals. 49ers are number 17. They're up against a number 2 Seahawks team. Nice matchup. 49ers win 70% of their games on the road versus the Seahawks that don't win that well at home. Well, I mean, they win 75%, so that's okay. It's just that the 49ers win better on the road than the Seahawks do at home. So you have that coming in for the matchup. Defense versus offense is where things get a little wild because the 49ers have like number 21 defense in regards to yards allowed in their defense. Their red zone allows 54% of the attempts on the goal to happen against a Seahawks defense that is a number 3 defense in regards to defensive yards allowed. Not overall, but in regards to defensive yards allowed data ranking, number 3 Seahawks. I'm trying to think who they've played that are close to a 49ers. Not really a lot because the McCaffrey element is quite different than any other team. The way he's probably the Lions are the closest thing in regards to explosiveness from a running back that can kill you with between the guards and in the screen, right? I would say DeAndre Swift for the Bears is a good comparison to McCaffrey. I'm not saying he's the same. Eagles, Saquon Barkley, another good example of a running back that can do it both ways and they do it good. I don't know, man. I mean, because here's the thing. Um, can the Seahawks defense keep them in the game? and keep the 49ers from getting real explosive. Because the thing about the 49ers is over the last 5 weeks, we've all seen it. They had a nice run. They lost. They looked horrible. Then last week, they're looking like they got their second win and they're back, right? So now I'm like, I don't know which 49ers we're going to see today or tonight, okay? And that bothers me a little bit in regards to trying to really cap this game. Coaching staff to coaching staff, Kyle Shanahan and his squad, they're number 3 coaching staff versus a number 16 coaching staff for the Seahawks. So Seahawks could get out coached, but I think that even though they could get out coached, I think the Seahawks athleticism and their system right now that they're doing actually outplays the players of the 49ers. Not to mention they're dealing with some injuries as well. Okay, so you got Kittle that's out. That's going to hurt because they need a nice tight end presence. Injury report here for 49ers and the Seahawks. You got Brandon Ayuk is out. Kittle is out. Nick Bosa. Pearsall is questionable again. And you got multiple linebackers that's out. That's questionable. So you got that. Again, I said Sam Darnold, he's questionable, but I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. And then they got problems with their O-line, but they've been dealing with O-line problems the whole season. So with that being said, on the injury side, the 49ers are coming into this with a considerable amount of injuries that what makes it even more shaky for me with the Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy is good, but he's not Tom Brady, okay? I'm not saying that Sam Darnold's Tom Brady either. I'm just saying that with those injuries, I don't know if Purdy can figure out a way to work with what he has and try to win against a high-powered Seattle Seahawks offense that is, I don't know how you don't respect the Seahawks because you had to be watching last season and see how they all got blown up, and then Pete Carroll goes with Geno and Metcalf goes to Pittsburgh. They blew the whole thing up. And to be here right now after last year, wow. So you got to respect that. They're doing pretty good considering just that alone. Okay? Just that alone. Seahawks also will take the points if they're in the field goal and if they're in the red zone or close enough to it, they'll take the field goal. 49ers kind of will, and I think they're going to be put in some scenarios where they can't close the deal in the red zone. I like field goals for the whole entire. I like over 3.5 field goals in this game. And I also will go with the 49ers for field goal. The kicker for the 49ers, and I'll talk about this when I go down and break down the kicking points. But for right now, I'm just going to lean towards 49ers for kicking points in the whole game. I like over 3.5 field goals in this game. Sure. Player production. Let's start out with the 49ers, pending everything they got going on right now. With no Ayuk and no Kittle, I see the ball going towards Jawan Jennings, Demarcus Robinson, obviously McCaffrey on the screenplays. Maybe even outside of a screen, he might even take it and run down the field on a post play. It's just hard to tell when they write up plays for McCaffrey. I don't know if I like McCaffrey between the guards today. I like him on the outside edges with the screen. I don't see him having any life against this defense. This Seattle Hawks, the Seahawks defense is pretty good. I don't know if you watched them, but they're pretty good. They move bodies and they do their thing. Not to mention, they also are going to make things very uncomfortable for Brock Purdy because the 49ers do lose the battle at the offensive line with a number 17 offensive line. On the other side of that, you got Sam Darnold with an offensive line that's winning the battle. They're a number 12 offensive line, but they do win the battle against this defensive line for the 49ers. Remember, they got linebackers that are questionable and also out. Excuse me. So, with that being said, you have a Seahawks defense that wins the battle of the line, and they're volatile as well. And then on top of that, on the flip side, their offense has a quarterback protected and able to execute run plays at the same time. And I like Charbonnet today to do his thing on the ground, and create that running game to keep things balanced for Darnold, while at the same time protecting Darnold so that he can pick you completely apart. Jackson Smith Enigma, Rashid Shaheed, Cooper Kupp, and Mr. A.J. Barner. If you haven't been watching the show, then you don't know how excited I get about A.J. Barner. A.J. Barner has cashed me every week they played except last week. So because he didn't get any action last week, AJ Barner is going to get 40 yards today in receiving, and I like AJ Barner for a touchdown today. And I rarely go off the edge and go for touchdowns. Today, AJ Barner for a touchdown. I love him for 40 yards in receiving. I like Charbonnet for more so rushing plus receiving than I do just rushing. I'm not going to touch Jackson Smith and Nigba on a prop bet, but I definitely also like those field goals we talked about. I'm not touching any quarterbacks on passing yards today. I really want to take, if I did anybody on passing yards, it would be Sam Darnold, and I would take him for maybe 225, but I know I'm going to have to pay some juice at 225. I don't like Purdy for passing yards, and I don't like Purdy for passing touchdowns either. But the data says that it's a good probability. And wrapping up this game, talking about the possible points in this game. I'm going to lean Seahawks side for points, even though I know I'm going to have to pay the juice because I'm not taking minus 325 on the money line for the Seahawks, but I will take points. I'll take the Seahawks for over 21.5. I really want to go as far as high as over 23.5, but I'm not sure with it being first round playoff if it's going to be high scoring, but it has the potential to be. So I'll stick between over 21.5 to over 23.5 for points on this game. But money line wise, if you haven't figured it out, I'm leaning towards the Seahawks in this game. I really tried to find a way for the 49ers to win, but with those injuries that they have, Brock Purdy limited with his options for production, and them not having as good of a defense against a high-powered Seahawks, I got to lean towards the Seahawks to win the game. But that's where I'm at with this game. Good luck, Seahawks. Let's make it a good one. Going to be some money to be made in this game, man. It's going to be interesting to watch. All right, so as we run down the whole slate, like I said, it's just 4 games. Weather-wise, today's 2 games are going to be fine, okay? For weather. Just the wind blowing a little bit for the Bills game. Tomorrow you're dealing with light snow, and it's going to be cold as hell for those particular games. So good luck to those players with staying warm and staying productive. The slate that you're looking at here, if you're new to the show, you can see through the columns on my spreadsheet. I have money line odds next to the team. I also have the weather that we just went over on the left-hand side, the degrees, time of the game. C and CD is just telling you if it's a conference or a division game. And then as well, you have the ranking, and you also have the projected points. You also have the average probability perspective, the math of who might possibly win. And then you have a column for LMBTL, which stands for line battle. Yes, meaning they win the battle at the line. The offense does, and N meaning no, that the offense does not win that battle. SKING stands for skilled injuries. I have a point system for that to tell you which team is better position in regards to injuries. And then over to the far rights, we have the win-loss ratio, whether they're on the road or if they're at home. So everything is self-explanatory here for you to look at. But I'm just going to run down really quick what the data says for who the data thinks is going to win these games. For the Bills and the Broncos, they are looking at a 58% chance of winning. Okay. The data, that's what the data has. The data has the Seahawks at a 53% chance of winning. There's a For the Texans and the Patriots, it is a 55% chance of winning for the Patriots. And then the math for the Rams versus the Bears, right now it's at a 53% chance that the Rams win. I'll do a separate video for those two games, okay, for tomorrow. But I just wanted to share with you what the data says and not what I'm saying, okay? I don't necessarily disagree with what the data's saying in this instance. I kind of disagree a little bit with the Bears game. I think the Bears have the ability to. I'm not saying that they will, but they have the ability to keep it clutch and come back and or keep it close all the way to the end and possibly win the game. I'll tell you how I really bet and how I really feel when I do that video, but there's that game. Texas defense could put up a really good production against the Patriots, and this might be the first real tough challenge that Drake May has to deal with against the Texans, and the Texans could come around and win this game. Even though CJ Stroud was late to the party last week against the Steelers, and he struggled a little bit until the very last end of the game. But that's what we got for that game, and just the whole Drake May phenom part of it all, right? And then you got with the 49ers and the Seahawks. Seahawks are explosive. The 49ers, you can't really count them out, but injuries are not really working in their favor. So that's to be considered as well. And again, Bills and the Broncos, Bills Superman, Josh Allen versus steady as she goes, Bo Nix. That's pretty consistent. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the data. This is what it says. This is what we all are looking at. This is a tough one. God bless your heart if you betting on money lines. I'm gonna do it right along with you. So bless my heart too. But it's gonna be treacherous for us. I don't know. I don't. It's a lot of people aren't gonna come out smelling like roses in this one because I don't know. That's why I'm challenging my gut on this. Like my gut's telling me to go with the data, but I gotta still look at it because there's always something that you end up missing, and that's what comes back to bite you, and then you lose money. It's what it is. I mean, that's just how it always unfolds. But if you can see as many angles as there are to see, because you're not going to see all of them, but if you can try to point out as many of them possible, then you can kind of find a way to find a prop bet here and there that's common sense and a good price. But that's the data. Let's dive into the kicking points, and then I will give you a bonus bet. I got a round robin for you guys, and actually got 2 round robins for you, and then we can get you guys out of here. All right, guys, here is the data for the kicking props. I told you I went OD on this, like literally since I taken the dive down this rabbit hole of kicking points and field goals, it has like really changed my whole round robin game up because it feels like it's something that is just like disregarded or overlooked, and it has so much value. It's so much more of a conservative bet. It's so much close to like something that's gonna happen regardless. Like they're gonna kick field goals. They're gonna get extra points. You just got to figure out how many points did they end up getting as a kicker. And the consistency is so crazy. I just take the screenshot, look at it for yourself, use it for research. But here's the data, and I'll give you an idea of like each game what I end up liking. So for the very first game, I mean, when I talked about the game breakdown, I did also like kind of go over this a little bit, but I'm gonna go with Buffalo to not be the team I end up going with for kicking points. Even though last week he did get 9 kicking points. Okay. So I can't disregard that. Matt Prater. But I like Will Lutz better, well rested, and Denver has a better. They take more field goals than the Bills do. So it seems like if they get in the red zone and they can't find a way to score, they'll just take the points. I don't think Buffalo does that. I think Buffalo's going to go for it on 4th down more than their fans would like for them to do. And it's going to be very risky for them. With Josh Allen forcing a square peg through a round ball. I'm sorry, round hole. However that cliche goes. But anyway, over. Let's go with over 6 kicking points for Will Lutz. I'm not going to do the whole game for field goals. If I did, I would take over 2.5, but I know that they're not paying for anything like that. I would take under 5. I would take under 4.5 field goals for the whole game. 49ers and the Seahawks. Eddie Panero. Will he be my guy? I like the 49ers being in a situation where they may have to kick a field goal or 2 and settle for those points because they know that they don't have the manpower to really manhandle people. And if McCaffrey can't get it done in the red zone, they settle for a field goal. Yeah, let's go with the 49ers kicker, Eddie Panero. I'm not saying that Jason Myers for the Seahawks is not going to do his thing because they have the tendency to go ahead and take points. So I would lean 2 field goal bets on this game. I will go with over 3.5 field goals for the entire game. I see Jason Myers getting 2. It's playoff football. I like. Oh man, I see 3. There's 3 bets. We'll go with Jason Myers over 6 kicking points. We're going with Eddie Panero over 6 kicking points, and we're gonna go with over 3.5 field goals for the entire game. You're obviously you're not gonna put all those on the same ticket, but you could put them on 3 different tickets as an anchor bet, and then build from that. I think 2 out of 3 of those bets are going to hit, but I think all 3 will hit. For Houston and New England, I definitely like Andy Borgals. I'm gonna go with him for kicking because I know Drake May is gonna have a good day and get them into the red zone, even if he can't score consistently like this. He got 10 kicking points last week. So here's the thing: if the Patriots have a great game, he gets the points. If they have a mediocre game and got settled for field goals, and you get the points early. I'm going with Andy Borgals for kicking points. I'm not going to mess with Mr. Fairbairn. Harrison Mavis versus Cairo Santos for the last game. Again, inclement weather is going to be a factor. Oh boy, I'm gonna do some more research and do another weather report in the morning before I do that video. Because right now, if the weather's really bad, then that'll mess up field goal points because they ain't not gonna be able to score, let alone kick in the snow. Now, there's also the difference of snow on the ground and actively snowing. Snow on the ground, I'll take the kicking points. Snowing, can't see, treacherous. Sticking to rushing yards and rushing props if that's the case. But anyway, here's what we have for your kicking data. But have fun with it. I have been cashing out, man. It's almost the easiest bet for me in addition to everything else. It's changed my whole betting game up. Let's look at the bonus bets that I have for you guys with this round robin and get you guys out of here. So, round robins that I have for you today are here on the screen. So, I got two of them for you side by side, and I gotta say, I'm I'm excited to put these in. These are going to be a really good slate to put in and mix some college basketball in with this. Nuts, ton of ankle bets at really good prices. I'm only gonna go with like maybe three things max per game for prop. My goal is just to get between plus 250 to plus 400 per game off of three things. If I can get that off of two things in the game, then I'll just take that. But that's my goal. And round robin that with some college basketball money lines, which are at good price. It's a ton of college basketball on the day. Oh my God, it's crazy. So self-explanatory when you look at this. You choose whatever you like. I'm giving you a template or a skeleton to use for your round robin, and it's broken down in regards to the games at the top, right? Round robin number one on the left, round robin number two on the other side, and literally these are two different round robins. Every category: receiving yards, receptions, rushing, passing, alternate bet, which is the rushing plus receiving, and touchdowns, right? Those are your categories. Those are your players. Those are the props. Those are the odds. The probability of it. Everything is here for you. And you have the bot score from the previous week. So that way you can give a quick snapshot of some research to be like, yeah, well, they did get this last week. Maybe they'll get it this week type thing. Like these props, the data out, the algorithm has chosen these for the round robins. And I actually really, really love them. So anyway, again, self-explanatory. Take a screenshot of this, put it in. I wish you the best with this one. It should be pretty fun. So, ladies and gentlemen and ladies, that brings us to the end of the show. It's going to be action packed. It's going to be a great day for the NFL. Be cautious, be vigilant, because there's landmines definitely laid out there for us in the sports betting world this weekend. I'm just super excited because of the whole round robin effect. I got to be honest, any parlays I put together, it's just really a lottery ticket, to be honest. I make my money off of round robins. And I occasionally do hit the whole parlay. That's just my story. I'm not the guy on the internet that's like pounding on his chest telling you that I hit all my parlays, and no, I don't. I hit a lot of them, not all of them. But what I do hit a lot of, probably in the 80 percentile, is my round robins. Like every once in a while, I'll have a Black Sunday where nothing hits, but that's every once in a while. But for the most part, I'm going to either make my money back that I did for the bet and then some, or I'm making my money back for the bet and a lot. And I tend to go towards the a lot side along with getting my money back for round robin. So I would definitely suggest that for you guys to do some research on how to do round robins. If you want me to do a video on how to do a round robin, I'll do that for you as well. I'm just tired of screaming round robin to everybody while they come and tell me how they missed one leg on a parlay. Like, okay, yeah. I had a great Sunday. I had a great Thursday. I had a great Wednesday from basketball. Round robins, round robins, round robins. Don't cheat yourself. Treat yourself. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the games today. I hope I enjoyed them as well, and I hope you guys enjoyed the show. If you did find value today in the show, which I hope you did, please like, comment, share, or subscribe. Hit that little bell for the notification so you know whenever my videos are coming in, because sometimes they can be sporadic. I'm videoing on the day of the games, and normally I get them out a day or two earlier, but I had to keep doing my research, and I didn't want to rush it just to get you a video yesterday with some half-ass results of research, right? My research is done. if the video is ready, and we got plenty of time to put in bets. So
Lights on, game
anyway, happy
time, let's
hunting,
break it all
and check
down.
these 2 videos out here, and I'll see you
From the
guys later.
spreads to the lines, who's up, who's down. We're crunching the numbers, calling the plays, talking all sports in a big time way. Yeah, yeah.